Hello, everyone. This is Jem, and today I'm going to be going over 5 tips I wish I would have known before I started playing Grounded. This video is going to be the first of a series I'm creating called Grounded No Rush Survival, which is meant to help beginner players who are entering the world of Grounded for the first time, or for players who just want to enjoy chill and relaxing content focused on survival crafting games. So, without further ado, let's get started. Tip number 1: analyze everything, even if you don't know why yet. When you first enter the world of Grounded, one of the very first things you will find is the scanner. This device is priceless for your gameplay, as you will need to use it to unlock equipment to help you survive. Grounded relies heavily on exploration and analyzing things you find. In order to play and advance in the game, you need the right tools and equipment to survive. Analyzing what's around you makes that possible and makes it much easier to upgrade as you go along. A good rule of thumb is if you find something new, scan it. Make it a habit. You're not always going to understand what the recipe is, but that's fine. The important thing is to remember to keep scanning, and it will become more clear as you go along. One big mistake I made early on was rushing and not analyzing everything I found. Or I would just forget to scan something and just store it for later. This would cause me to miss some important tools and equipment later on that I would then have to backtrack and find the resource I needed to scan to unlock the recipe. So make sure to get in the habit of scanning everything. Tip number 2: base location and how you build matters more than you think. A good rule of thumb for base building is to build near resources and stay in the beginner tutorial area. Look, it's really easy to want to venture off into the unknown and build in areas that have more unique or rare materials. However, if you do, you may find more dangers lurking in those areas that you aren't ready for. This can quickly lead to a lot of stress and frustration early on that makes it harder to play. So, to prevent that from happening, try to stay close to the briefcase early on and take your time before moving somewhere else. Also, it's okay to start small and expand later. Just building a lean to and simple storage is great for starting out, but make sure to remember to set your respawn point. That's something that I still tend to forget, and it's often put me in really frustrating positions. Along the same lines as starting small, it's also perfectly okay to build a temporary base and then move later. I typically like to start small at the baseball and then head towards the acorn tree for a more permanent base. It doesn't need to be perfect or fancy when you're just starting off. Another good thing to keep in mind is elevation. Elevation makes it a lot harder for early bugs to get you, which is also another reason why I enjoy building my first base on the baseball. It's in the beginner area, it's up high, and it gives you a good view of what's around you. There's a lot of benefits for building here, and I highly recommend it. Tip number 3: you don't need to fight everything you see. You're going to see a lot of bugs and Grounded, some tiny and cute, while others are huge and terrifying. You don't need to take everything on, and frankly, you really shouldn't. Red ants are a good early foe. That is a decent challenge, with soldier ants upping the difficulty. Ladybugs and orb weavers are actually a more mid game threat. You might be tempted to go after a ladybug right off the bat. They look fairly harmless and won't attack unless you provoke them. But if you do, you're going to be in for a nasty surprise. Ladybugs hit hard, and they can heal themselves, so be prepared for when you go after them. Now, for spiders, well, it's pretty obvious why you should avoid them, at least in the beginning. Typically, I like to take on ladybugs first to get better armor before seriously hunting orb weavers. But for early game, running away from a fight is often a smart choice. Grounded can be taken at your own pace, and you don't have to fight the biggest, meanest things there are right off the bat. Most times, it's better to just run. Though, thankfully, the game is very forgiving when it comes to death, and will let you keep your things in a backpack you drop. no matter how many times you do die, unlike some other games I've played before. While on the topic of running away, another smart tactic is to learn enemy behavior rather than just brute forcing attacks. Every enemy you face has attack patterns and weaknesses. Take the time to learn them, test the waters, and take your time. Peek at the creature and learn its weakness. You can do that by looking at the creature cards in your menu. You won't be able to use flavors early on, but you can still use specific weapons that smash or slice or stab to your advantage. But, of course, you may not always be prepared for when a large enemy attacks. In those cases, dying early teaches patterns, not failure. You can know what places to avoid at what times of day and how to do better next time. Tip number 4. Craft a shield early. It changes everything. It took me a long time before I figured out how amazing shields are. Honestly, I'm a little sad how long it took me to figure that out. You can block bug attacks with any weapon, but a shield allows you to save your health and armor. You'll still take some damage if you block, but not nearly as much without a shield. And when you start going after larger foes, shields are a lifesaver. Once you craft a shield, you should take the time to practice and master perfect blocking. Perfect blocking prevents you from taking damage. It also prevents durability damage and can help you avoid negative status effects like poison. All in all, it's a great skill to master early on and will be a lifesaver in the late game. Also, having a shield lets you survive mistakes. There may be times where you'll wander into places that may be too much for you to handle. Whether or not you have a shield can often be the determining factor on whether you live or die in that situation. Finally, even basic shields are huge upgrades. Just having a shield can feel like a huge boost to morale in combat. It helps you feel a little more prepared and a little deadlier in any encounter, which makes the game a lot more fun. Tip number 5. Slow down. Grounded rewards patience. When you start playing Grounded, you may discover that rushing tends to lead to death. This game pretty much expects you to take your time and explore what's around you. It can be pretty unforgiving if you decide to rush off into the unknown and stumble into something deadly. You'll have a much easier time if you take your time and learn which pathways are safer than others. Don't be afraid to go slow. Anytime that I tend to rush off into the wilderness, I usually run into something I don't want to find. Also, have fun. I love how large this game feels. With the grass blades blocking your view, it's easy to find little hidden gems all over the place. Exploration is progress, and the game rewards you for taking your time and discovering what's to be found. Lastly, this game is meant to feel dangerous. You are a tiny little person surrounded by giant bugs. There's a freaking monstrous crow flying around that's as big as a house. It's meant to make you feel nervous and small as you're exploring and trying to survive. But that's part of the fun. Because as you progress and learn, you'll begin to find yourself more capable of taking on more and more dangerous foes, which makes it all that much more satisfying. And those are my 5 tips I wish I would have known when I first started playing Grounded. I hope they help you in your playthrough and that you have a great time playing Grounded. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.